by saying, hi, hello guys. Today we'll be looking at rounding off. And without further ado, we get right into the questions. And the first question says, round to the nearest 10, T-E-N. Very important that we don't get that confused. Now, my first question, it says 64. Now, there are different ways of looking at this. For instance, one way to look at it is to say 64 is between 60 and 70. All right, so 64 is in between 60 and 70. Now the question is, which 10 is it closer to? Is it closer to 60 or is it closer to 70? We can easily check. 64 minus 60 is 4 and 70 minus 64 is 6. So 64 is closer to 60 than to 70. All right, so right away, I know that 64 to the closest 10 would be 60. That's just one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at it is the final number in the 10 position. So we have 6 and 4. 4 is in the ones position, 6 is in the tens position, right here. Now to determine what to do, we look at the number to the right of the 6. And if that number is 5 or more, we round up. If it is less than 5, we round down. Now, of course, 4 is less than 5, which means that we round down. So technically speaking, this is going to become 60 as well. All right, so the 6 would remain. And of course, you replace the 4 by a 0 because you're rounding to the nearest 10. All right, 87. Let us look at the second approach. 87 is between 80 and 90. Now, clearly, by just looking at 87, we see it's closer to 90 than to 80. So we could know that the answer is already 90. However, doing it the way, we look at the number in the tens position, which is 8. We look at the number to the right, which is 7. 7 is 5 or above. So it means that I'm going to have to round the 8 up one place. So if I round 8 up one place, it becomes 9. And in the ones position, of course, you're going to have 0 since we're rounding to the nearest 10. Now, similarly, 99. And this one is interesting. 99, of course, is between 90 and 100. But let us use this method and see what happens. In the tens position, you have 9. You look at the number to the right, which is 9 also. And the statement says if it is 5 or above, we round the 9 up. That is in the tens position. All right, so I'm going to have to round this 9 up one position, but this is what is going to happen. If you round 9 up, it becomes 10. So you're going to have 1, 0. All right. Of course, you realize that the 1 is now in the hundreds position. And this 9 that is right here in the ones position gets replaced by a 0. So 99 to the nearest 10 is 100. And technically, you can also check it. 99 is between 90 and 100. It is one position away from 100, and it is 9 positions away from 90. So to the nearest 10, it's going to be 100. All right, of course, you can always pause and try the others, and then you play back the video to see what the answer is. Let's continue. In 569, 5 is in the hundreds position, 6 is in the tens position, so that is where we're going to. Now, we look at the number to the right, which is 9, which tells me that I'm going to have to round the 6 up one position. Now, if I round 6 up one place, it becomes 7. So what is going to happen here? My 5 will come back because I can't change the value of the number. My 5 comes back and the 6 becomes 7. And of course, in the 9 position, you're going to have 0 since we're going to the nearest 10. All right, 343. In the tens position, you have 4. All right, to the right of 4, you have 3, and 3 is less than 5, which means that 4 will come back. So you're going to have 340. 999. Let us find the tens position. What number is in the tens position? You have 9 there. Now, to the right of 9, you also have a 9, which means that I'm going to have to round this 9 up one position. Good? But let us take this in step. If I round this 9 up one position, I'm going to end up getting 10. I can't put 10 in this position here, so I'm going to have to put a 0 and carry the 1 over. Now 9 plus 1 is 10. So I'm going to have 1, 0, 0. And of course, we replace the 9 in the ones position by a 0. So my answer is actually 1,000 to the nearest 10. All right. Now I'm going to scroll down. You can pause the video. And of course, you can try the second set. Now the second set says round to the nearest 100. Okay. Round to the nearest 100. The concept remains the same. We have to find a number in the hundreds position, which in my first number, 343, that number is 3. We look at the number to the right of the 3, which is 4. And that number 4 tells me that I'm going to round down. So it's going to remain as 3. So I'm going to end up with 300. All right, so it's the nearest 100. So I have to replace the tens position and the ones position with 0, 300. 564. The number in the hundreds position is 5. The number to the right, which is 6, is greater than 5, which means I'm going to have to round up the 5. So if I round up 5, it goes up 1 position, so I'm going to have 600. All right, 2,319. We're looking for the hundreds position, which is the 3. The 3 is in that position. To the right of the 3, you have 1. Which technically means that that one is less than 5, which means that this 3 is going to come back. So you're going to end up with 2,300. 999. The number in the hundreds position here is 9. All right, we look at the number to the right, which is also 9. That number is greater than 5. It's 5 or more, so we round up the 9 here, which is going to become 10. So you're going to have 1. And you replace all other positions with 0. Good. Now, what you would notice here is that 999 to the nearest 100 is 1,000. To the nearest 10 is also 1,000. And you'd have seen why. Right. Now, whole numbers. Now, of course, let me just point out that whole numbers are counting numbers and 0. And we have a few questions that says round the following to the nearest whole number. Now, whole numbers don't have decimals. Of course, we know that. So technically speaking, when it says round to the nearest whole number, we mean round to the nearest ones. So we're looking at the ones position because the ones position is what will define the whole number. So I'm going to be looking at the number in the ones position, which in this case is 6. The number to the right of 6 is 3. This number is 6.35. Now, 3 is actually less than 5, which means that 6 is going to remain. So I'm just going to have 6 there. Of course, whole numbers don't have decimals, so I can't put 0.00. There are no decimals in whole numbers because whole numbers represent the set of counting numbers and 0. All right? So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are no decimals. So we leave those off. By leaving off the zeros after the decimal point, the number is not affected. It is still 6. The value doesn't change. All right, 123.56. Once again, to the nearest whole number, we look at the number in the ones position, which in this case is 3. The number to the right of 3 is 5, which means we're going to have to round 3 up. 3 rounded up, 1 place goes to 4. So my answer is 124. Once again, we point out that there is no need, we can't put 0.00 because there are no decimals in whole numbers. And of course, it doesn't affect the number 124. In C, we have 453.32. Now, once again, the number in my ones position is 3. All right. To the right of 3, you have 3. Now that 3 is less than 5, which means that this 3 right here in the ones position will remain. So my answer will be 453. All right, good so far. 9.95. The number in the ones position is 9. The number to the right of 9, of course, let me point out that this is the 10th position. All right, so when rounding off to the nearest whole number, we'll look at the number in the 10th position to see if it is 5 or more, or if it's less than 5. 9, of course, is 5 or more, which means I'm going to have to round a 9 up 1 position. So that becomes 10. All right. Now, notice in all cases, The number in A in the ones position was 6. The number to the right was 3. 3 is in the 10th position. Likewise, 123.56. The 5 that determines what we do is in the 10th position. Very important to note there.